Every fast food restaurant has that one secret sauce they keep under lock and key. But today, we're leaking those recipes. Don't fall. Now, when it comes to famous fast food sauces, there are 5 that are absolutely S tier, simply the best of the best. Wingstop ranch, In-N-Out spread, Raisin Cane sauce, Chick-fil-A sauce, and Chipotle's honey vinaigrette. But if you disagree or just want to learn how to make any of these other sauces, then don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this with a distant relative you really only see once a year. They miss you. But now to start us off with the best of the best when it comes to ranch, Wingstop. Now, this one is really interesting because I see a lot of people get it kinda right, but also get it kinda wrong. And there's a really good explanation for it. It's not a very complex recipe. It's really just mayonnaise, buttermilk, and ranch seasoning. But the problem is most people don't use the right ones. That's the problem. For our mayonnaise, most people probably use something like this, which is just your standard, delicious, house regular mayonnaise. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not the stuff that they use at Wingstop. And if you want it to taste like Wingstop, then you're gonna need heavy duty mayonnaise. Now, first off, you're probably thinking, man, this is ridiculous. I'm not spending $45 on a giant tub of mayonnaise. You'd be wrong, it was like $8. It's pretty good value. But really the thing that makes this different from your standard typical regular mayonnaise is that it is thicker, there's more egg yolks, and it emulsifies better. So this is going to be why it tastes different than your regular store-bought mayonnaise. Plus I'm making like 4 other sauces today and like half of them also use mayonnaise, so now I have this mayonnaise. My wife asked me where we're gonna put it. I'm still figuring that out. Now the second thing that people get wrong is your buttermilk. Most people will use a reduced fat buttermilk because it, generally speaking, is more common. Example A, I couldn't find any full fat buttermilk and I really couldn't justify buying a giant gallon size of buttermilk because that would for sure go bad. So we're using reduced fat buttermilk, but if you can find it, you want full fat buttermilk. And for the last bit of the puzzle that people generally speaking get wrong, the ranch packet. Now, some people will tell you to use the restaurant style ranch packet. It's not correct, it's wrong. Some people will also tell you to just use the regular dip ranch packet, and that's also wrong. What you need is this guy, which was also purchased from the restaurant supply store. This guy is exactly what they use in Wingstop. It is going to give you the exact speckle, the exact flavor, the exact taste, and this whole thing was like $4. So it's a little more expensive, technically speaking. Like it cost more than these smaller ones, but value per gram, like this is more value. This is less per ounce, this is more per ounce. So if you find this and you're just gonna make a bunch of ranch, just get this guy. Now the standard ratio for Wingstop ranch is 1 gallon of mayonnaise, 1 gallon of buttermilk, and 2 packets of the ranch seasoning. 180 grams of this. We're obviously not gonna make 2 gallons of ranch, so we just scaled it down. Starting off with a cup of our heavy duty mayonnaise. Ooh, that is attractive. Followed by a cup of our buttermilk. And then we'll go in with about 11 grams of that ranch seasoning. And this is all it is. This is Wingstop ranch. Sorry, there's a delivery driver at my door. Awkward. Anyways, and this is really all it is. All we need to do is just whisk this all together, make sure it is nice and incorporated. And there we have our Wingstop ranch. And the last thing that you want to do if you really want it to taste like the restaurant, and realistically speaking, you should do this for all of the sauces, is let them sit in the fridge overnight. When you're getting your sauce at the restaurant, it's rare that it's ever made right then and there. Typically, it's made at least the day before, if not farther back. So it has time for all those flavors to come together and sit in the fridge, and that's what you want to do. Oh yeah. That's Wingstop ranch. And this part is totally optional. You definitely don't have to do this, but I find that if you're making any sort of sauce, it really helps to have a squeeze bottle on hand, because then it makes distributing and using the sauce much more realistic. It's not gonna just like sit in a jar or in a container in the back of your fridge until you recognize that it's there. 6 months, 12 years, 39, whatever time format you wanna talk about. You're not gonna waste it. It's gonna be there, readily available. You grab it, you squeeze, you use, it's done. How high can I go? How high can I go? Oh. Next up, we have a go-to burger sauce, the In-N-Out spread. Now I have to be honest with you because I almost didn't do In-N-Out spread. Instead, I almost did Big Mac sauce because I think that Big Mac sauce is probably a little bit more iconic. In-N-Out sauce is more of like, if you're in California, or like now it's California adjacent, but like, you know what I mean? It's not like, not everybody knows about it. But I think that like the spread, like there's just something about spread. And I figured like, if you're in a place where you don't have an In-N-Out, this is a perfect opportunity for me to share In-N-Out with somebody else that can't have it. So Big Mac sauce was a consideration here, but no, Big Mac sauce was a consideration, but we landed on In-N-Out spread. Now for our spread, it starts with a cup and a third of mayonnaise. So we're gonna get back in this nice hunkin' jar. Sickness. And then a third cup, followed by a third cup of ketchup. Ooh, I'm running out of. Hold please. And I'm back. And something you want to keep in mind when you're recreating any recipe like this, the ingredients that you might have might look the same, but are not technically the same. Like our mayonnaise, for instance, there's a different taste to it, there's a different texture to it versus the one that you would typically buy at the grocery store. Your ketchup is the same thing. If you're using a different type of ketchup than they use, it's a little bit harder to nail down exactly. If it's not exactly right, then try a different brand of this, try a different brand of that until you find something that works right. A tablespoon of Dijon, 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire, sure. A 4th cup of sweet pickle relish, 2 teaspoons of distilled white vinegar, 3 teaspoons of sugar, and then you're just gonna salt it to taste because again, different things here have different levels of salt in them, especially like something like your ketchup. So taste it and adjust as you go. Well, not as you go. Taste it and adjust after you mix it all together. Duh. I spilled. Oh, that's delightful. And now as I'm whisking this together, I'm also noticing that mine is a little bit on the thicker side and In-N-Out spread is typically a little bit thinner. Generally speaking, I would prefer a thicker sauce because it doesn't just like sploosh everywhere. But in order to stay accurate, we are going to thin it out with just a touch of water. We'll start with about a teaspoon. Let's go 2 teaspoons and we'll see where that gets us because we can always add more water if we need to. Just a splash more. And we are dialed. Delicious. And I present to you In-N-Out spread. Just need to bottle this all up, cap it up, and you should always label any of your containers, especially with the date. I should be labeling with the date, but I'm not labeling with the date because it just doesn't look as cool for the video. And now for the chicken sauce that beats literally all chicken sauce, Raising Cane's. Now this is one that I have made in the past and gotten sort of wrong. So basically in my original recipe, I was using fresh garlic cloves that were just grated up. And in reality, I probably should have been using garlic powder. My mistake. There's also like tons of different variations of this recipe online and some use lemon pepper, some use Cajun seasoning, some use vinegar. Like there's tons of different ways to make this sauce, but I'm pretty sure that the way I'm gonna show you how to make it today is going to be the absolute closest. Starting off with 1 1/3 cup of our heavy duty mayonnaise. Oh man. Oh, darn it. Then we have 2/3 cup of ketchup, 2.5 tablespoons of Worcestershire, 3 teaspoons of garlic powder, and then right about a teaspoon of fresh cracked black pepper. Now this sauce, similar to the Wingstop ranch, I would highly recommend you let sit at least overnight because of that garlic powder. You want to give it time to fully meld into our sauce. But if you're like me and you can't wait, then I give you Raising Cane sauce. I'm telling you, if you don't already have a bunch of plastic squeeze bottles laying around the house, you gotta get some because squeeze bottles are just the best. You just make like 1 sauce a month, it makes using sauce just so much better. So if you want to get a new bottle like this, I've got it linked down below, but you can also just like reuse an old ketchup bottle. Like it works. I love them a lot. Just close this up. Next up is Chick-fil-A sauce, which honestly, I don't ever really get. I almost always just get sweet and spicy sriracha, but my wife told me that if I didn't do Chick-fil-A sauce, she would be sad. And a sad pregnant wife is not good for anybody. While I move everything into place so I can make this, how's your day? What's going on? How's your week? Anything cool going on this weekend? Tell me about it. How can we celebrate you? How can we support you? We're all here for you. Starting off in our giant jar of mayonnaise, 1 1/4 cup. 1/2 cup of barbecue sauce, which is where things can get a little bit different because barbecue sauces differ greatly depending on the brand and the type. The closest I could find to the information is it's a hickory type of barbecue sauce, and so use that if you can find it. I'm using this one because I like this one, so whatever makes you happy. 3 tablespoons of yellow mustard, 1 tablespoon of distilled white vinegar, 1/4 cup of sugar, and I know, it's a lot. 1/4 teaspoon of dry mustard powder, and then you're just gonna salt to taste. And again, this is definitely one you wanna let sit overnight, if not a couple days before you use it, because you want that sugar to dissolve, you want that mustard powder to dissolve, you want it to all really become one big cohesive sauce. And to do that, you just need time in the fridge. You need a whisk. Now, the color of mine is a little bit darker than the actual Chick-fil-A sauce that you get in the packets, or are they packets or the little cup? The cups. However, that's most likely due to me using a different barbecue sauce. And that's one that's just gonna be really tricky because they don't use a pre-packaged, pre-labeled barbecue sauce to make theirs. So it's kind of difficult to track down something that's exactly the same. But I tell you what, this pretty darn close. Very, very close. If I were to eat that blindfolded, I'd be like, oh, it's Chick-fil-A sauce. It's really good. And for our final sauce today, one that I hold very near and dear to my heart because If you've been here long enough, you know that this was the first video of mine to ever go viral on YouTube, like fully went to the moon. Chipotle's honey vinaigrette. Now for this recipe, you don't actually need a bowl, but you do need an immersion blender. But you, technically speaking, don't need an immersion blender. If you have a regular blender or one of those cup blenders, that wing would work well too. That thing would work well too. Or if you wanted to, you could just do this by hand, but then you'll need to chop up all these chipotles in adobo really fine, as well as you'd have to whisk it because you're going to be emulsifying it. So it's gonna be a lot more arm workout, but it's 100% doable. But because I have an immersion blender, I'm gonna be doing it in this cup. 1/3 cup of red wine vinegar, 1/4 cup of honey. I should have coated the inside of this with oil because now it's just sticking. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. 1/4 cup of chipotles in adobo. I like using the pre-diced chipotles in adobo because it's a lot easier to work with and actually measure versus being like 1 chipotle pepper, 2, but then like sometimes they're really tiny and sometimes they're really big. So I find that to be a little bit more consistent. 1/3 cup of water, 3/4 cup of neutral oil, 2 teaspoons of salt, 3/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and then 1/2 teaspoon of dried Mexican oregano. Got it. And then now all we need to do is just carefully immerse all this together. And then we'll just go ahead and detach this before we give it a taste, because last time I licked it while I was plugged in, I got yelled at on the internet. It's magnificent. Let's see if I can do this one without the funnel. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Not a drop. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I really hope that you learned something. Here's a photo of my cat looking just a little bit derpy, and I'll see you next week.